And welcome in to finally a week and a half later, apparently. Divine Disbelief. I am Nathaniel.
I am Susan.
Is it episode 47?
It is episode 47. It is.
47.
We are almost at 50.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
We're getting old.
I know. Like, I realized earlier that I'm getting old because I woke up and my back was hurting.
Oh, well, welcome to... Yeah. That's my everyday.
Yeah, it sucks. It just sucks. So.
And my favorite thing about this is that your cat cannot fucking help herself.
Of course she can't.
Like, she wasn't doing anything until, like, she heard the intro music and she was all about it.
She heard me talking. She heard us talking. I think that's the thing.
She heard your voice and, I guess, heard your voice. And because she didn't hear it earlier, I guess, when you were talking. I don't know. But
yeah,
we are excited to have you here. There we go. I can see I think I can see the multi-stream. Sure. I don't know. But we are, for the first time in a long time, doing this on a different platform.
Yeah.
And I think I did some stuff right. We're going to see. We're going to find out. I think the script that she helped to write more than you think and more than she thinks will work out. My hand just got cut off. She doesn't.
The cat has no boundaries.
No, she's a cat.
Yeah, she has zero boundaries. So.
What did we end up doing with the corgis again? Are they just like behind?
Yeah, they're behind the green screen.
Oh, it's red.
The red screen, then.
So, important note here, because I produce this show.
And you do wonderfully. That sounded sarcastic.
I forgot the slides for this part. So they're supposed to go like up here in the great expanse up here. Wow, this got a lot larger too. Did you notice this? This is a lot larger as well.
No, we were that size. We were that size anyway.
Oh, right.
And it's not off kilter, so we're good.
Did I put the chat box up here? Is that where it is?
It's supposed to be, but yeah. Let me.
We'll see. Let's see if it. I guess I could just. Yeah. No. You know.
No, it takes a second. See.
There it is.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
We have a chat box.
Look at this. We are moving on up.
Yep.
In the world.
I love it.
But we have a lot to get to today, including our first deep dive in a while.
Yep.
So, Susan, take it away without the screenshots.
Without the screenshot.
That I was supposed to get.
It's okay.
I was doing other things, like not getting screenshots.
It is
or
okay.
Not loading them properly into, like, the Elgato.
Nah, it's totally fine. So I'm sharing the stream to some stuff. Okay.
While she was doing that and telling me, like, that was the case,
we're gonna get out of that.
We have new shirts.
We do have new shirts.
Look at that. See?
Can't really see me because I'm short.
Yeah, we see. Right? So, if you'd like one of these shirts, I don't know. I got them from Box Lunch.
Yeah.
And that was fun. So.
I love them. I love them so much.
Yeah. Box Lunch and GameStop, right? No. Box Lunch and Hot Topic. GameStop and Think Geek are the same thing.
Exactly. I think GameStop bought Think Geek.
Correct.
Yeah.
So. And now there's like no such thing as Think Geek anymore. Sir, madam, we've been in one.
Yeah.
That was the thing. It was like they were shutting all of them down, apparently. And I was like, who did you talk to?
Yeah.
So.
Weird.
Newsies.
All right. So this is from the Texas Tribune. So a retired, and that's supposed to be read as fired in 2003 for a raid at a Kmart parking lot.
Yeah, didn't they, like, arrest the entire store?
Basically, yeah. It was a giant mess. It really was.
One of my favorite things.
So he was, past tense, a captain with the Houston Police Department. He was arrested for allegedly running a man off the road and holding him at gunpoint in what prosecutors are calling, quote, part of an elaborate attempt to find evidence for a false conspiracy theory of widespread voter fraud in Harris County.
Yeah.
So the gentleman's name is Mark Aguirre. He's from the Houston area, obviously, and he was allegedly working with a huge Republican mega donor group that was supposedly investigating the super credible accusations of election fraud that had been pushed by some major Texas GOP officials.
And the president.
Yeah. What is the name of the head of the GOP in Texas? Allen West?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that was at Baylor.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he was at Baylor, and he was also, because he was with Ken Starr.
Oof, okay, yeah. So, in the incident, Aguirre allegedly rammed his SUV into the back of the man's van, and the man happens to be an HVAC technician. So this was in order to cause the man to stop and get out, and he subsequently pointed a handgun at the man, the HVAC technician, and forced him on the ground. Now, one of Aguirre's accomplices, who had been on a stakeout with him at a Marriott in Pearland for like 4 days. Of all the things, a Marriott in Pearland.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been
A La Quinta.
4 Seasons.
I have a story for later. So the accomplice that had been on this stakeout with him then stole the man's van.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yes, he stole the van, and they found it abandoned a few blocks later. According to the HPD report, Aguirre refused to identify his accomplices, and I mean, of course, because...
You ain't gonna roll over?
Yeah.
Right?
The best thing about this, I guess not the best thing, but one of the best things in this is that a few days before the incident, Aguirre called Lieutenant Wayne Rubio with the Texas AG's office and requested help with this investigation. Rubio, of course, declined and made record of the call, and when Aguirre called him again a few days later, upset because the police refused to help him. Because why would they help him?
Well, because he doesn't have a white last name.
That's true.
I mean...
That's very true.
You know, if we're being honest here.
Yeah, that's true. So when he made this second call, Aguirre told Rubio that he had been in an accident with a voter fraud suspect. Because taking the law into your own hands is awesome. It's a great idea. You should always do it. No. Don't take criminal advice from a YouTube show, please.
Yeah, no. Don't do that.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't take much advice at all from us.
No, really.
We're literally here to read things to you that we have read.
I like to think I put my own spin on some
She
stuff.
does. She does.
I do.
I don't.
I read a lot.
I just read it out loud. I verbatim, usually.
So Aguirre was arrested this past Tuesday and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, which is a second-degree felony that can carry up to 20 years in prison. Now, you may be wondering why the hell we're talking about this in our news stories that usually deal with religion and all of its usually detrimental effects on our country. And our democracy, for that matter. I did leave out one very important piece of information.
What's that?
The very important piece of information is that the Republican megadonor group is called Liberty Center for God and Country. And it is run by notorious right-wing activist. I feel really icky calling him an activist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. Steven, how do you say this name? Hotze?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll say it's
the mega
Hotze.
donor fella?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Hotze, in case you weren't aware, which I wasn't aware of this, so I don't blame y'all if you weren't aware, He was included in a group of Republicans who attempted to sue to have almost 127,000 ballots tossed out in Harris County in the days following the election.
Yeah.
He was a prominent proponent of the bathroom bill that was brought in the Texas legislature in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually left a voicemail for Greg Abbott in the wake of the murder of George Floyd.
Oh, dear God.
Encouraging and urging them to shoot and kill protesters.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, just don't do that, okay? Thanks.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't take advice from Steve Hotsey either.
Yeah, or his millions of dollars. Also, Mr. Hotsey, millions of dollars. There's a lot of homeless people out there. And also everything else.
Yeah. Tons of stuff.
You super Christian.
Yeah. So super Christian. He, love thy neighbor, help the poor. That's what's really important to him.
That's goddamn socialism.
Right? He's also part of a group that tried to stop Abbott from extending early voting during the pandemic because voter suppression is great.
Okay, yeah. Again, things Jesus would do.
Yeah. So the cherry on top of this one is that Aguirre actually provided a statement for that suit in an affidavit that claimed he was part of an investigation into a wide-ranging and fraudulent ballot harvesting scheme.
What was it? 750,000 or something ballots that he said were in that van.
Something along those lines. I didn't write it down. Yes, it was 750,000 that he claims were in there.
So there's like a lot of things you can, like be like God was. This is a God thing that you can like do that with, like in God we trust and all that nonsense, right? Yeah, you can. You can definitely do all of that. And that's like, this is a Jesus thing. This is a God thing. You can't use God. Well, actually, I guess you could. Like, let's use the Old Testament version. No, man, it's Hanukkah. We're not going to do that.
No.
This is the thing where they have this thing because they think they have the Republicans do. Especially like the far right Republicans, and also 99% of Republicans in Congress. So all of them, that they have Christianity. This is their thing. It's like, this is our thing. You can't have it. You're unchristian because we said so. Also, we're doing all of this nonsense in the name of God, which, by the way, is an American thing.
It really is.
The absolute genocide of over 100 million indigenous peoples was in the name of God. Manifest destiny is a God thing.
It is. It is.
So,
it is what the belief that God has chosen these people in order to expand the country.
Yeah,
Go west, young man.
God created this continent for us to be able to subdue is the actual word.
Yeah. And by us, we mean the white people.
Yeah, white people. That is us.
White people.
That's definitely us.
So Hotsey's attorney, Jared Woodfill, he didn't actually deny that Liberty Center for God and Country hired a company that is led by Aguirre to investigate voter fraud. Did not deny it. In fact, the company that was hired apparently contracted about 20 private investigators to be sent on a wild goose chase or a snipe hunt or whatever in search of these wrongdoings.
Yeah.
Woodfill did make it clear that Hotsey, quote, did not direct or lead any of the investigations and claimed that he was aware of Aguirre's arrest, but hadn't heard his side of the story yet.
Huh. Is that the end of that article? Because I have like an ending. Okay. It actually kind of makes sense as to why they would investigate this and then go out there and chase this stuff, like this wild goose hunt, this snipe thing, as you mentioned, down. It makes perfect sense. I mean, they believe in a God that doesn't exist. So this is par for the course.
That's true. That's a very good point.
Yeah, this isn't like out of the,
out of the ordinary.
No, you would expect that. You believe in a lot of like just unprovable nonsense.
Yeah.
Why not this too?
I mean, it tracks.
Good for
it tracks.
Good for you guys and your conspiracy. I don't know.
Yeah, I got nothing.
God, way to use Jesus to try to do that.
Jesus Christ, superstar. Oh, right. Moving on. This one is from Football Italia. Because...
So not the American version.
No.
I am uninterested. Move on.
Nope, I'm not. Because this one's actually... It's an important one. This is an important one. I swear it is.
I'm going to check the score. Go ahead.
I swear it is.
No, it is. I have to check the score because Nebraska's playing right now. It's the fourth quarter, and they were last checked up a touchdown.
They were. And a PAT.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So midfielder Brian Cristante of Team Roma. Is that how you say that? Because I'm
Roma?
Not familiar.
Yeah, they're Italiano.
Roma,
yeah.
But do you say Team Roma or just say Roma?
You said Roma.
Okay.
It's just like you do with like United.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to say Manchester in the UK, and they're also United, but they're not. No, you just say like Man U if you want.
Yeah.
Like that. And Nebraska won.
Oh, they won! Yay!
Yeah, and I like this right here because like there's the field, and then we're like on the field.
Nice.
We did it. Nebraska scored 14 points. They scored 21 points in the second half, and
that's rare.
Yeah, Rutgers scored 7.
That's very rare because Nebraska football moment
Bad.
Here. Yeah, they're not great in the second half.
Or at all. Pretty
that
much.
Too.
But yeah, they were outscored. So with that 7, they were outscored 51 or 52 to carry the 1. 16.
Jeezy Pete's.
That's a lot. In the fourth quarter. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So midfielder Brian Cristante of Roma was recently given a 1-match suspension for blasphemy.
Go on.
So the disciplinary commission issued the suspension, and Cristante was sanctioned by the sports judge, which is, so sports judges are basically referees, and they have different, depending on the, like, what position that they're, like, refereeing, there's, like, different sports judges in the match.
So you have, like, judges for, like, forwards and strikers and stuff like that?
I believe so.
Man, there's too much. Look, this is like cricket and soccer. Y'all need to just stop. Right? Too much action going on.
So he was sanctioned by the sports judge for, quote, having pronounced a blasphemous expression identifiable and audible without margins of reasonable doubt. I want to know what he said. I don't know what he said.
Because you can like only audible in football, which makes sense. But
so his 1-match suspension. Yeah.
Can they, so are they in like the Premier League or Roma? Yeah, they're like in Premier. How can they do that?
I think the reason is so actually the 1-match suspension meant that he was unable to participate in the match against Torino in
the grand version,
Series A, Week 12.
Oh. Oh wait, no, never mind.
No, you have.
I paused it.
He does have it paused. So yeah, I'm wondering why this is such a big deal, and the only thing I can think of is because they were. It's a team from Rome.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing I can think of.
Well, even with that, it would be. I'd have to look into it some more. Spoiler: I didn't read this one.
There's not a lot to it.
Because being from Rome, because he may not be Catholic.
Right.
You just get like there's people that no, not they wouldn't go there and play professional athletics but you would go to even if you're from like Boston and you went to Boston U or Boston College, where if you got drafted like MLB, you could go and play for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And then your farm team would be in like Alaska or something because they're never geographically like located in like anywhere near where the team actually is.
Except for the Corpus Christi Hooks and the Houston Astros.
That's because it's hot down there.
Truth.
But so that would be interesting. I'll look in. We'll look into that and see if we can find stuff for the update on next week.
Yeah. What really gets me, though, is the article didn't say what he said, so I have no idea what he said. And I know FFRF makes a really, really, they make a really hard push for decriminalizing blasphemy around the world.
Yes.
Because
blasphemy laws are awful.
They're ridiculous. They're pointless.
Yeah.
There's
kind of like the Electoral College.
Truth.
It only hurts people.
That's true. All right, moving on. This one is from Politico. So we're all aware that of the shocker that former Liberty University president Jerry Falwell Jr. endorsed Trump in the 2016 election.
We have an ongoing bit with
Junior.
Yeah, we actually were looking. This was about a year ago. We were looking forward to hearing about the pool boy, and like that was the thing. I was like, we know that they're gonna release photos and stuff.
Yeah,
and they did.
They did.
I don't know that any of us predicted that he was gonna be with a girl in a photo with his pants undone.
Yeah, sort of.
If you had that one,
yeah. I didn't have that on my bingo card.
No,
really.
If you had that, I'm gonna need your help with some sports betting.
Yeah, indeed. So apparently this was not supposed to happen, but whatever. It's not surprising.
Okay.
That it happened. So since then, Junior has funneled a shit ton of money from Liberty University into a bunch of Republican causes, because of course he did, including the creation of a think tank that has zero output in terms of like peer-reviewed academic work.
Can he do that with? So it's money from Liberty University,
right? So formally, because Liberty University is a 501c3, so they remember with 501c3s they can support issues and causes. They can't support candidates.
Yeah, that's how you get around that.
But
go ahead.
So this think tank that has, no academic work or anything, they ran pro-Trump ads, and most recently, they vociferously supported all of the election fraud accusations that are currently flying around. Are we surprised by that?
No.
No, we're not.
No, they are a far-right evangelical school.
Yeah.
And
that's what they build on.
How they're accredited, I don't know.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Go ahead.
So Falkirk Center, as it's known because it is Jerry Falwell Jr. Guess who the other one is?
Kirk Cameron.
No.
Oh, Kirk.
No.
Oh, Fall what?
Falkirk. It's a last name.
Kirkman. Kirk. No, I don't know.
Charlie Kirk.
What?
Yeah. Charlie Kirk co-founded this.
Oh.
He did. He co-founded this. They bought a bunch of pro-Trump and other Republican candidate political ads on Facebook to the tune of at least $50,000, with one of them saying, "Pray for our president," with a picture of Trump supposedly praying. I don't know. I can't verify that.
Okay, we know that's never happened.
Citation.
But also, are they going to pray for Joe Biden?
No.
That'd be messed up, man. I don't think that Jesus made any type of because when he said pray, pray unceasingly and things like that, right?
Yeah, and don't pray out in the open, and don't be like the people who want attention and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously this is really stretching the limits of what a 501c3 can do in terms of political causes, because like I said, they can't support candidates. They can support causes, not candidates. I'm talking with my hands a whole bunch. So a graduate and former teacher at Liberty University, her name is Mary Beth Baggett, said of the school, quote, "The apparatus of the university has turned more and more towards political ends and concerns. Obviously, the school is conservative, yes, but I don't feel like it was ever so agenda-driven as it was in the last 4 or 5 years. So the Board of Trustees is currently torn on what to do. Okay. They're kind of split. And of course we covered, I believe we covered, his resignation.
Yes,
in August. We covered his resignation.
We did.
So they've kept their talks and their dealings pretty clandestine, which, I mean, that's not surprising because all churches keep everything clandestine, and we know that they're basically a church. But some who are in touch with board members have said that they're actually pretty split. Some feel that the university should be directly involved with politics and the political conversation, which dislike, don't like. And others feel that the university should just shut down the Falkirk Center altogether. Of course...
Label me in that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, I mean, of course, the Falkirk Center has all of this support from a bunch of the leaders at Liberty, including the current president, or acting president. So shutting it down would probably be fairly difficult at this point. And while they do support conservative organizations that they say are, quote, consistent with the mission and focus of Liberty University as an evangelical Christian university, the Falkirk Center is the only one that has been blatantly supporting specific candidates.
That'll be interesting to see how that goes. I wonder if anybody is going to try to, raise any, any kind of red flags or something like that.
Oh, I thought you were going to say raise any hell, and I was going to laugh really hard.
Oh, that would have, man, missed that one. That was an opportunity right there.
That would be good. Yeah. Okay. So this one is from Right Wing Watch. I like Right Wing Watch.
Yeah, we have one of these almost every week.
Yeah,
She's a fan of that one. I go to Fox News. She goes to Right Wing Watch.
But I also do. I go to the sources. Admittedly, I get a lot of shit from friendly atheists, so thank you, Hema Mehta. But I go to the sources for it. I
get a lot of stuff, as I mentioned, from Fox News.
Yeah.
You can find a bunch of religion stuff on Fox News. Crazy, I know.
Yeah, who would have thought? So, have you ever heard of Jonathan Cahn?
Cahn?
No. Not
That's
that
not
Cahn.
him?
Not that Cahn. No.
So he's not Benedict Cumberbatch? Damn it.
No.
Was he Cahn? He was Cahn, wasn't he?
Yes, he was Cahn.
Okay, cool. Man, I don't know. It's been like a decade since I've seen that movie. Chris Pine is still the same age, apparently. No, I don't know who that is. Who is it?
Well, I didn't know who he was either. So we're on the same page. So I had to do a little bit of research on him.
Uh-oh.
And I was a little sad that I did because Cahn is a Messianic Christian pastor who wrote the novel The Harbinger. There we go.
Death.
I don't know how to pronounce things. I took ASL in high school. So The Harbinger compares the U.S. and the attacks of 9/11 to ancient Israel and the destruction of the Kingdom of Israel.
Go on.
It's tasteless. He wrote like 5 sequels to it. It's bad.
Okay, maybe I do know the name. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
I've my evangelical days, I read a lot of apocalyptic books.
Oh, God. How many times did you read Left Behind?
Oh, I only read the series one time.
Okay.
And one of the books came out like on my birthday.
Oh,
because it was the it was in
was it in 2006?
It was. Yeah. I think it was like the apocalypse one or something, because it was June 6th of 2006, which is the 666, because they can't get over that shit. So
wow.
There you go.
Wow. 666. I love it. That's fucking hilarious. Okay. So he is the head of the Beth Israel Worship Center in Wayne, New Jersey. And he was reported as saying that Trump's rise to power was prophesied in the Bible, comparing Trump to King Jehu, who led ancient Israel away from idolatry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cahn is
I don't know about
an interesting guy.
Yeah,
he's interesting. So anyway, Cahn delivered the closing speech at the Let the Church Roar rally last Saturday.
Let the Church Roar?
Yes!
Oh,
that's what it's called. And all I can think about is Mama Bear apologetics. So this rally brought a shit ton of activists. Again, I hate using that word. To DC to support Trump's vain attempt at staying in power.
Yeah.
I just lost my place. There we go. Even though, you know, he lost the election.
Yes.
Friendly reminder, Donald Trump lost the election. So this is the same thing that we talked about last week because it was sponsored by Jericho March. You remember that one where they circled 7 times?
Oh, yeah.
Even though, because Scathing Atheist covered it this week, and even though they were supposed to march once around it every day for 6 days and then march 7 times on the 7th day in order to actually be like the March of Jericho.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they did it wrong. So that's funny. So it was this rally was in direct competition with another rally that was called the March for Trump.
Oh dear God.
So I don't know if there were any like conflict between the two. You would think that there conflict. That was not intentional. But I don't know. You know, if they had, you know, any tussles or anything.
Probably.
Yeah. So Cahn's speech was apparently filled with all of the awful things that America is facing in accordance with what Cahn calls biblical template for national judgment. He went on to warn the crowd of things like forced abortion. Why do they always think that that's a thing?
Man,
that's not a thing.
I don't know, babe.
You're trying to make forced abortion happen. It's not going to happen. He was warning them against like the indoctrination of children against God.
I don't even know what that means.
A bunch of atheist indoctrination, I guess. Because we're awful people.
Apparently.
We're terrible. We're horrible. So he also was letting everybody know that the January 5th Senate runoff in Georgia may result in, quote, a government that is ready to enact the most radical anti-biblical agenda in the history of this nation without any restraint.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm excited for that.
I actually can't wait.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Cahn said, quote, he doesn't look at the numbers or the weapons. With God, the odds mean nothing. Just a few people with God who are all out and on fire, whose heart is completely his, are mightier than many, even mightier than the world. I skipped a paragraph.
It's fine.
So that was actually how God is apparently on their side and stuff. He actually, do you remember the tweet that we saw from Kenneth Copeland comparing Hanukkah to Christians?
Yes.
Like co-opting Hanukkah?
Yeah.
Cahn did the same thing.
Why?
Because he's an awful person. He said that the Israelites were forced to submit to a wicked government until, quote, the deplorables of that nation revolted and won the fight with God's help. He tried to incorporate that good message in his speech, though, saying, you know, God doesn't look at the odds.
Sure.
Insert quote from earlier here, he doesn't look at the numbers, etc., etc. So he ended the speech with a prayer that asked God to help bring spiritual revival to the U.S. and asked him to have his way with the government.
That's
I got nothing.
Naughty.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to know my favorite part?
Yes, I do.
You want to know who the MC was?
I'm guessing not Usher.
No.
Who is it? Or who was
Eric Metaxas.
That
movie star, R&B superstar.
This guy, man, he does it all.
He really does. You know, such a huge Eric Metaxas fan. I really am.
Yeah, me too. I've met him. You know that? You remember that?
We both did, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you actually meet him? We went to that?
I think so.
Because I did.
Pretty sure. I believe
so.
I
met him the next day too. Because remember I went out to where the fuck that was, and like almost to Tyler, and I watched that. I went there and I watched in the
yeah.
What's it called? It was It actually wasn't that far off from reality.
Yeah.
But then they tried to say like that the church was the one that actually like helped to end segregation. We know that's not true.
No, it's not true. Not true. All right, and finally, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead.
You good? Okay.
Yeah, I will let you know if I'm not.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So finally, this evening, this one is from the Huffington Post. While we here at Divine Disbelief celebrate Christmas, we obviously don't observe any of the religious stuff that goes along with it, and that includes nativity scenes. So I've never owned a nativity scene myself. I don't know if you have.
Nativity scene?
Yeah.
Probably
at some juncture in time. It's not my thing. I understand it's some people's thing. I understand some people are like, nativity scenes, yay! I don't get it. I don't understand it. So St. Peter's Square at the Vatican, however, obviously does believe in these nativity scenes, and they've hosted some of these nativity scenes. How many times am I going to say that?
I don't know.
They've hosted some of these over the years that have been interesting, to say the least. So the one this year is pretty much the opposite of traditional.
Yeah.
It's pretty great because this year it includes both an astronaut and a character that resembles Darth Vader but doesn't resemble Darth Vader.
It's a concept.
It's
a concept character.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of those.
Concept art Darth Vaders. So, and I mean, obviously it can't be Darth Vader, technically, because Disney would sue the Vatican and probably win.
Whoa, that'd be a fun thing to watch.
That would be oh my god, that's like celebrity deathmatch.
I'd watch.
I would watch the shit out of that. That would be great. Oh my god, I would love it. So, people are unhappy about this nativity scene.
Why is that?
Because it has an astronaut and supposed Darth Vader. It's like Barth Vader. Barth Tater.
I'm going to just go ahead and put it out there that plenty of Christians watch Star Wars.
That's true.
The Star War.
The Star War.
Right? Like...
Go see a Star War.
Yeah, plenty of them watch a Star War.
Yeah.
And so, Marth Vader.
Marth Vader. Yes, that's perfect. So, what in the name of sane Christianity have they created in the piazza in the Vatican? Tweeted A.A. Michelangelo. Words are inadequate for this horrific creation, which must have come from the planet Zog.
Zog?
Yeah, I don't know where that is, but I want to go to there. Very badly.
You made some shit up. Which, par for the course, I suppose.
I mean, let's be honest here. Now, Mary, Joseph, the three kings, and the shepherds, they look like these little cubic chess figures. They're actually super cute.
Okay.
Like, it's really adorable.
But Darth.
Well, the animals are kind of like square and squat. So those are really cute, too.
Okay, I'm down with that.
They're kind of chonky.
Okay, all right.
So this scene has actually appeared at various venues over the years. Because it was created by students and teachers in the town of Castelli.
Where's that?
I'm gonna say that's how you say that, Castelli.
Yeah, well, if it's not Castelli, we're gonna get in trouble. I mean, because the L's are in the wrong spot for it to be like a yeah sound.
Apologies to all of our Italian listeners.
Yeah, all of you.
Yes, none of you. So it was created between 1965 and 1975. So it's not like this is brand new.
Okay.
This has been around for a while. So they usually will, with the nativity scene that they have, they'll add something to represent current events. So there was last year's that had a broken boat that represented refugees and the plight of refugees and stuff.
Especially going into Europe, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And one year they had a person visiting an inmate in a jail cell. Yeah. And supposedly that symbolized charity? I don't know.
I don't know.
I got nothing.
Like, there's sometimes where it's, like, maybe it's not so obvious.
I guess, yeah.
Mysterious ways or whatever.
So the one from last year
Mm-hmm.
was sculpted with 720 tons of sand from the beach. Specifically beach sand, not like lake sand or desert sand. Beach sand.
How do you sculpt stuff from beach sand?
You know sandcastles?
Yeah, it's because
It's the same concept.
Those aren't sculpted. They're like
no.
The water comes in, and
you
what
haven't
happens?
seen sandcastle competitions, have you?
Why is that a thing, America?
It's a thing in South Texas. It's a thing.
We have so much other stuff we could be doing, especially in Texas where the water is shitty.
But I mean, they do it every year.
Right.
I don't remember what it's called. Sand something, obviously. I don't know. So according to the description, the astronaut from that's contained in the nativity scene represents the lunar landings of the late 60s and early 70s and is apparently planting a Vatican flag on the moon, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty.
And they don't like it, huh?
Well, not everybody is unhappy, so that's good to know. So Lino Rulli, who is the host of The Catholic Guy, which is apparently a weekday program that is on in Minnesota and only Minnesota. I don't know. He said, I don't know what I love more, the spaceman or the guy from the Star Wars cantina.
No.
I really want a small one for our home.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. That made me laugh so hard, though. The guy from the Star Wars cantina.
I like it.
Made me laugh.
It's on Mos Eisley, right? Not the
Mos Eisley Cantina. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Usually when they're referring to the Star Wars Cantina, it's Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley, yeah.
Yeah, but there's like one, and they're all over Tatooine, basically.
McClunky. Yeah, that's the last thing that Greedo says.
Oh yeah.
He says, "This will be your end."
Yeah.
Which is ironic because then he dies.
Yeah, then he dies. So, yeah. Well, that is it for news.
Awesome.
So
I just got a thing from Reddit. Apparently today is the first snow of the year in Wiesbaden, Germany.
Oh, nice.
So cool, good for them.
Yeah.
Vatican flag part. Exactly. Yeah, I feel that.
Yarp.
So let me make sure that this is going to work, because then when it does, I'm going to hand it to you.
Okay.
Cool. And boop.
I don't know.
Boop. Oh, I have it on studio mode. My bad, y'all. There we are.
Yay.
There we definitely are.
Did it work?
It did work.
Yay.
I can see us. We went from like all red
smaller.
to all, yeah, I don't when we did that, but this is the deep dive.
It's the deep dive.
It's the deep dive.
We haven't done one on the show in a while.
Correct. Yeah.
Like it's been a minute.
The last one I think we did was, I did one over the historical Jesus. That's been in what, May?
You never finished the Hawkins story.
Yeah, I thought about that earlier. I saw the folder. I was like, okay, better do that.
Eventually.
So
it's like this one. We'll finish it
yeah.
eventually. Okay.
And so again, you can like just go into the folder without hitting anything.
That is the folder.
Yep, you can go into it right now.
Woo.
Boop. Yeah, see?
Cool.
There you go.
Yay.
So here you go. This does have a script, and I'm going to stick to the script as much as I possibly can, which should be easy. I wrote most of it. Which is what we do. We give each other, little editing tips here and there when we go switch back and forth between the deep dive stuff, and we write the majority of the scripts, the stuff that we go over. There's stuff we jump into. This is going to be something where next week Susan is going to be writing a script. That's the second part of this, which is kind of funny. Anyways,
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, and remember, that one doesn't exist right now.
Okay.
But there is, if you scroll down just like a little bit.
Yeah, there's the other ones.
Well, no, there's go again. And then as soon as that, it's that. Cool.
Cool.
Because I just added it while we're here. Anyways.
Cool.
So
I like it.
The 1995 Nebraska Cornhuskers football team is widely regarded, and rightfully so, as the greatest team in the history of college football. If you're a fan of the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, who didn't score an offensive touchdown against Boston College, feel free to focus on just that and argue in the comments and stop listening right here because you're wrong. Now, even in 2014, NFL.com responded to Urban Meyer, former coach of Ohio State and Florida, labeling his 2008 Florida Gators as the best team to ever play. And they released an article of its own giving the top 5 college football teams, none of which, of course, included the 2008 Gators, but at the top of the list, the 95 Huskers. Over a 12-0 season, Big Red scored 638 points while allowing only 174, with the closest game a 14-point win over Washington State in Lincoln in the 5th game of the season. Nebraska played 4 teams ranked in the top 10, and the games weren't even close. They won by an average score of those top 10 teams of 49-18. At home against number 7 Kansas State, and super sorry for the grainy videos here, it was 1995. I don't know what you want from me. And the Wildcats defense, which was first in the nation in yards allowed, second in points allowed, and second in pass defense, complemented by their 9th-ranked scoring offense. The Huskers were up 42-6. This is caught on my shoe. Entering the 4th quarter, before the starters rested and the backups allowed the Wildcats to score 19 points to finish the game. And they had 9 sacks, did Nebraska, on Kansas State, who, as I was going over earlier with Susan, would finish 10-2 and number 7 in the nation. So, there's that. That Nebraska did. And with the 9 sacks, they also had negative 29 yards rushing. The following Saturday, traveling to a 5th-ranked Colorado team, which was 6th in the nation in total offense and 8th in both passing yards and scoring offense, over 36 points a game, Nebraska was up 31-14 at the half and held the Buffaloes to 276 passing yards, 49 of those coming on one play en route to a 44-21 victory. 2 weeks later, on the road again, this time at number 9 Kansas, and yes, Kansas was, if you can believe this, good at football. Won, I don't know. It's been a while ago.
At some point.
Yeah, they're not good now. The Huskers dominated from start to finish. The Jayhawks averaged 207 yards rushing, 393 total yards, and 28 points per game. And Nebraska won 41-3.
That's funny.
Now, in the national championship game, the Huskers' 3rd straight championship game, Nebraska faced undefeated and number 2 Florida and head coach Steve Spurrier's fun and gun passing offense. They were 4th in the nation in total offense, 2nd in passing offense, and with 48 of their touchdowns coming through the air while throwing just 11 interceptions. The Gators were not all offense, with their defense holding teams to 130 yards in the ground, holding teams to 49% passing completion percentage, and allowing just 16 points per game. There were people that thought this would be a close game. And somebody forgot to tell Nebraska that. As the Huskers, down 10-6 early in the 2nd quarter, reeled off 29 consecutive points, turning a 4-point national championship game into a 25-point blowout before the half was over. The Huskers held the Gator passing attack in check, allowing 297 passing yards and 1 touchdown, while picking off Florida 3 times, one of which was returned for a score. Florida actually finished with just 269 yards because the Gators couldn't, protect the quarterback. Danny Warfel allowing 7 sacks for negative 40 yards. That means that they had 12 rushing yards on 14 designed run plays.
Oof.
And then there was this.
The Cornhuskers double tight, swing right, that's Reggie Ball, Schuster, and Clinton Childs in there. And an option to the right, Tommy on the keep, turns the corner, 25-30, eludes a tackler, 35, Tommy Frazier, 37, 38, 39, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, he's gonna go! Holy cow! Touchdown, Tommy Frazier!
Nebraska won that game, 62-24. Altogether, 33 of the players on that team went to either play in the NFL or in semi-pro teams or in Canada or Europe, something of that nature. To this day, Husker fans speak about nostalgia, but have good reason to think back and remember the indomitable force that was the '95 team. Here's the important part of that. When the fans talk, they will, of course, mention the leader that they had in head coach Tom Osborne. A native of Hastings, Nebraska, Osborne took over as head coach for Husker football in 1973, retiring from that position in 1997 with a record of 255, 49, and 3. And if you're like Susan and don't really know a ton about college football, we'll just tell you that's pretty damn good. Including in today's deep dive, including a 40-3 record from 1993 to 1997. 2 of those losses came in 1996.
Wow.
So yeah, and the other one was the 18-16 loss in the 1993 national championship game.
Right.
We'll get into that. Now, in today's deep dive, the first in a series on Tom Osborne, Nebraska football, and religion's role in college football, we're taking a look both at the Nebraska football program from 73 to 97, as well as how Osborne ran said program. Now, it is interesting in Osborne's Faith in the Game, his first-person 2008 memoir about his time as head coach, that the first chapter is titled Character. Now, he doesn't have necessarily the same definition of the word character as you or I likely do. And he doesn't go about defining it in very much detail either. He says this, in my view, achieving an understanding of character without relating it to faith is nearly impossible. My experience is that our relationship to God plays a significant role in that which we call character. Now, at the outset of chapter 2 in his book entitled Faith, Osborne says this, many areas of our culture display an anti-Christian sentiment, a point which he does not expound upon or provide any unique examples from which we can draw his conclusion. But on the same page, he lists what he calls his building blocks for a football program. And this is what they are. Number 1, everyone is equal in God's sight. Number 2, everyone has missed the mark in terms of being everything God has called him to be, or him or her to be. Through his life, death, and resurrection, Jesus reveals the depth of God's love for each person. Number 4, no one is beyond redemption. With God's help, it is possible to become a different person. Number 5, we are called to serve rather than be served. Number 6, life begins to have meaning and purpose when we choose to honor God and serve other people. And then finally, number 7, love is more powerful than any other emotion. 0% of that has to do with football. Even the fundamentals of building upon teammates. Every part of it is Christian, and what every other thing you would hear on Sunday at a church. Would players of other religions or no religion at all ever succeed in life? From these foundations, with Osborne created his football program, which represented not only the players and the University of Nebraska, but the entire state's identity. I can tell you that's true. Would players who weren't Christian even feel welcome? Additionally, how would LGBTQ plus players feel in a locker room or before or after a game? What about practice? And finally, would Christian players receive special treatment? After all, he says specifically, a player who was motivated primarily by his faith in God would not only give a maximum effort, but also do so for the right reasons. And he goes on to mention, in my estimation, any player who attempts to honor God with his play will not give anything less than a total effort. Osborne's opinion is this: players who don't honor God couldn't be trusted to always give their all. You think we're being hyperbolic? Consider his statement. Quote, these are quotes from Osborne. A player using his athletic talent to honor God will prepare through good training, focused practices, and sound mental discipline in approaching a game. Players who have grown up only in their physical and intellectual capabilities still lack balance in their lives if they have no spiritual commitment. He writes about players spending their lives focusing on athletics in order to succeed, especially those in broken or impoverished households, and says this: in the event of an injury, for those players who had no spiritual dimension in their lives, the end of their athletic careers often ushered in a period of bewilderment and confusion. All their lives had been based upon suddenly crumbled when they no longer had a football career. And I need to make this larger, sorry. And now look, there it is. While it's true to state that an individual who worked only on sports would likely face enormous obstacles when facing a career-ending injury, a lack of Christianity can't be shown to be the reason said player is unable to overcome these obstacles. Even so, this is another example of Osborne favoring Christian players over others. Again and again in the book, he showcases a mindset of the eternally persecuted Christian, stating in the instance of losses, quote, there were those who thought my being a person of faith was a major part of the problem. I'm just going to go ahead and say, with the amount of success other coaches who were also openly religious, he even mentions and quotes John Wooden and Tom Landry on the same page. He expresses how he is persecuted by fans. It's unlikely this scenario ever played out as he states it. On the next page, though, he says out loud that it was well known that Nebraska and Florida State, the two dominant programs of the 80s and 90s, began each day with a, quote, short devotional period. Ignoring for the time being how problematic that is at a public university, he states people knew about and accepted the practice. How can one be so persecuted for being faithful while at the same time pointing to their success and attributing it specifically to their Christianity instead of all or even some of the following? Nebraska and Florida State were the teams of the 80s and 90s, thus attaining what we call flagship status. Florida State, located in Tallahassee, had a recruiting base in their backyard. Nebraska may not have had any all-star players within 500 miles of Lincoln, or mountains, or beaches, or good weather, trees. But they had a recruiting pipeline in Florida, Texas, and Southern California. Both schools had coaching stability. Osborne was at Nebraska as an assistant with Bob Devaney in 1962 and took over the program as head coach in 1973. He subsequently led the Huskers until 1997 and had little turnover in his assistant coaching staff. Bowden coached at Florida State from 1976 until 2009. Coaching style and scheme. Osborne perfected the I formation option offense at Nebraska and relied on his black shirt defense to make stops. Bowden took advantage of early schemes with spread offenses and outright speed on offense. Osborne, more than any coach in the nation, took advantage of Prop 48, which we'll provide in more detail in a bit, or in next week's episode. This would allow the number of, how would you say, academically unfit, quote, football players known as partial qualifiers not only onto the roster, but also onto the field. And now it is also ironic that Osborne would use his friend Bowden as his example of a stand-up Christian. In 2009, the Florida State football program was forced to vacate 12 wins, 5 from the 2006 season and 7 from 2007, and had scholarship reductions from 2008 to 2011 for its role in, quote, improper help from Brenda Monk, a learning specialist and assistant director in the Athletic Support Center from 2001 until 2007. She said she assisted one athlete who had an IQ of 60 and, quote, would be unable to read the questions and would be unable to understand most of the questions. Bowden was forced into retirement at the end of that season and all but demanded his wins returned. You know, as a Christian will do when they're punished. Great example, Dr. Tom. And no, this has nothing to do with the fact that Nebraska should have won the 1993 national championship and referees missed. Florida State fullback William Floyd's fumbled the goal line, which Nebraska recovered, and adding insult to injury, penalized Nebraska for a phantom block in the back during Corey Dixon's punt return touchdown, would have given Nebraska a 7-0 lead early in the game. So, you know, it's promise. Nothing to do with that. Also, suck at Florida State. Osborne then mentions prayer in his book, saying there is, quote, real demonstrable power in prayer, and that, quote, patients who are prayed for generally improve more quickly and have better chances of surviving than patients who are not prayed for. Citation needed, and I feel like there's a podcast for that. Because this 2006 study by the American Heart Journal, sure, disagrees, saying, quote, patients who knew they were being prayed for, patients who knew prayers were being said for them had more complications after surgery than those who did not know. Even more, Father Dean Merrick, a Catholic priest who was involved in the study, he wasn't surprised, and he said, I am always a little leery about intercessory prayer, and what we have in mind for someone else may not be what they have in mind for themselves. It is clearly manipulative of divine action and personal choice.
That's what I say.
A 2009 study by the National Center for Biotechnology Information agreed, saying, quote, neither remote prayer delivered by professional healers nor remote prayer delivered by nurses with no training or experience of distance healing resulted in any benefits to patients with AIDS. And among those who didn't know they were being prayed for, there were more complications for those who received intercessory prayer, and complications occurred at a significantly larger portion of patients who knew they were being prayed for. So no, Tom, you cannot say we know for sure that prayer has any helps during medical procedures or anywhere, ever. I mean, I guess you'll like feel better because you did it.
That's about the extent
Prayers
of it.
up for you, I guess. Moving on. Osborne mentions his players attending voluntary chapel or mass before every game, which is fine. After the services, though, he would lead the players in a silent prayer before and after each game. This was challenged in 1998 by Nebraska professor and ACLU member David Moshman. When this was, running back Dan Alexander, quote, described faith as the backbone of our football program, and that the belief and spiritual commitment of many of the coaches was contagious and contributed to a 100% work ethic in practice. And his quote goes on further to say, that's what has made this program great, the force behind the winning. This cannot be shown to be true, and maybe Alexander didn't have that faithful 100% that he was talking about as he fumbled his way through the 1999 and 2000 seasons.
Is that like a double meaning thing? Because he didn't do very well, so he fumbled, and then he literally had a bunch of fumbles?
Oh yeah, he fumbled all the fucking time.
Oh, wow.
Focus on Jesus more, I guess. I gotta get a drink. My voice hates me. He said the players who were, and this is something I went over with you, the most, quote, challenging cases were those who had been raised well had been exposed to good values and appeared to be grounded in faith, yet deliberately turned their backs on what they knew God would have them to be. He went on to say how disheartening it was to see a player embarked on a self-destructive course sure to cause pain and to those who cared about him. Look, we're not going to get into a lot of this until next week, but maybe Tom should have paid more attention to Lawrence Phillips, Christian Peter, Terrell Farley, Damon Benning, Reggie Ball, Tyrone Williams, and others. It should be noted that all of them played in Nebraska's 62-24 decimation of Florida. Maybe he should have had a proper defense for Riley Washington, who was accused of a crime he did not commit, but nope. His biggest issue were with those well-to-do players who were, quote, turning their backs on God. He mentioned how the 31-30 loss to Miami in the 1984 Orange Bowl, when Nebraska scored with 1 second left, and instead of going for the tie, which would have given them the national championship, went for 2 and had the pass deflected. It was played in such a way that he says it, quote, attached a spiritual significance to the failed 2-point play, and how they felt we played a game that honored God. I have to say, as a fairly passionate, sure, Nebraska fan, I have not once made this connection. Not even when I was an evangelical Christian. Nobody I have ever spoken with has. Ever. We always just thought it was either stupid or daring. Both. The tie would have been okay. You'd have had a national championship. Seriously, Tom. But also, good on you for, going for the big win. Both. Anyways. But given this obvious character everybody could see, Osborne apparently had issues with what was right and wrong, saying, quote, sometimes I had to read between the lines to discover that certain actions or behaviors were perceived as disappointing or inappropriate. Dude, are you serious that you could not tell when something is inappropriate? As a football coach of the most dominant football program in the United States for over 50 years, you didn't know what was inappropriate.
God didn't give him good discretion.
Discernment.
There we go.
That's
Thank you.
Brooke Behringer died in a plane crash on April 18th, 1996. He was a good quarterback, and Nebraska would not have won the 1994 national championship without him. Even more, he was a good person. Everybody that I know would say the same. Hell, there's even a statue of him outside of Memorial Stadium's north entrance. Mm-hmm. I've seen it many times and have photos that I intend to put with this video. It's very emotional. When you go there, I was alive and I remember specifically when Brooke died.
Yeah.
Osborne, though, made the tragedy into something else. He said his players saw how worthless, quote, living a life that is without God and ultimate meaning would be. Maybe we should say that about Nebraska punter Sam Foltz, a young man who fairly well everyone looked up to, but didn't feel the need to constantly speak about Jesus. Sam, along with Michigan State punter Mike Sadler, died in a car accident in July of 2016 as they were returning from a kicking camp in Wisconsin. Guess what, Tom? His life mattered. And we don't need to say anything about Jesus in order to say that. He was a Christian, but his religion didn't matter when it came to who he was speaking with and the children that he helped to lead in positive ways. Osborne said the biggest reason the 1998 national champion Tennessee was so good despite losing so many players was the, quote, spiritual bond created between those who returned. Sure, coach, or talent and athleticism and great coaching to go along with a favorable schedule and, maybe a kicked ball in the air as time expires, Matt Davison. They certainly didn't have a, quote, unity council, which, trust me, you're going to love to hear about that next week. And how he dealt with issues in the program. Now, as you wrap up the first in our series focusing on Tom Osborne as a coach and later as a legislator, we would like to again disagree with his estimation that the only way to, quote, turn the corner and begin to reverse the flood of problems facing our nation's young people is a spiritual reawakening. Because young people today are more educated, more active in their communities, and pushing for positive reform than ever before. And they also, by the way, are the least religious they have ever been. Yep. Beyond that, many college football programs have seen success without religion. Alabama, the current dominant program, is an example. Ohio State, Southern Cal, Michigan, Oregon, etc. There are others. You want to know who hasn't been great recently but is this year? Notre Dame. Congratulations. Maybe it has to do with coaching and not touchdown Jesus. Yeah. If you don't know what that is, look it up.
It's actually great.
It's at Notre Dame.
Even I know
that. An example of a religious team who maybe didn't do the whole Jesus thing, Southern Methodist University, which is in Dallas.
It is.
SMU made illegal payments to players that continued after the school was placed on probation for recruiting violations. Boosters felt it wouldn't have been fair to players if they didn't deliver on their promises. SMU football was shut down in 1985 and prevented from playing for 2 years due to violations. We call that in college football the death penalty. And by the way, it's been affectionately known as the Pony Express.
I was hoping you were going to mention that because I love that so much.
How about ultra-religious coach Joe Paterno and his fucked up scandal at Penn State? What about Jim Tressel at Ohio State at a time when players sold their memorabilia for money and tattoos? I have thoughts about that, which I won't get into today, but fuck the NCAA for taking advantage of players. Also, this violated the rules, and ultra-Christian Jim Tressel didn't try to stop it. Mr. Sweater Vest him fucking self. It's great that you're religious, coach, but your assertions that winning requires faith in God, specifically your God, is fucking preposterous. If that were the case, the U.S. men's national team would have been good at least once, and beyond all that, NFL quarterback and Super Bowl winning quarterback Aaron Rodgers is a motherfucking atheist.
Did he officially come out as an atheist?
Yes, he did.
Oh.
You should have let it just stop right there.
I'm sorry.
It was like a mic drop. I'm just going to throw the mic at the door.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm confused.
Yeah, he's an atheist.
Oh, I thought he had just been like, hey, I'm not a Christian anymore.
Nope, he doesn't believe in God. He's an atheist. Yep.
That's cool.
So there you go.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was that whole thing. That was awesome.
Oh.
Your deep dive.
Yeah, I could
That was awesome.
I kept getting lost on the screen, whatever, because there's this huge. By the way, there's an enormous screen.
It's
I think it's like 27 inches.
Yeah.
Behind you. So turn around. There it is. And we have this split in half. On the screen, and so I was reading it over there, which I should have had it over here and this over there. You know what I'm talking about. And but I didn't, and so I lost my place a few different times. But yeah. Tom Osborne, by the way, to give you this, is not just one of the winningest coaches in college ball history. He is incredibly well liked.
Yeah.
It is difficult to find anybody that doesn't like him in the college football sphere.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of 2012, hey, thanks. At the end of 2012 or something like that, whenever I don't remember exactly the year, that he, because he came back as athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
When that happened, I'm gonna see if I can actually find this while I'm talking.
Mm-hmm.
There was the entire stadium, right? Let me see. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do this.
When he came back as interim athletic director.
Yeah, whenever he retired.
Bam.
See if I can get that. Maybe. Nope, that's not what I wanted, was it? Look at that. Maybe this.
He retired in 2013.
2013. Yeah, whichever. Boop. I need to share this with the. Let's see. I think I can do that from right here, huh? I'm just gonna do a display capture.
Browser source.
I just do display capture.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I can do a browser source.
Yeah, I would suggest doing that.
Sure. Browser source it is.
We figured this out on the fly.
Yep. Add a source. Sure. URL is that one. And sure.
Sure.
There it is.
There we go.
Sorry, it's this was what the entire stadium did.
Yeah.
At the end of 2013. Right? It's covering my face. Right? The entire thing. Yeah. The field that Nebraska loses on a regular basis. They had 47 or 49 consecutive wins there. It's called Tom Osborne Field.
Yeah.
So,
Memorial Stadium, but Tom Osborne Field.
Yes. Yeah.
I knew that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I knew that, actually. I'm very proud of myself for that.
Yeah. So the delete button needs to work.
You can also. Boop. There you go.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So, for him being so well liked, people really need to know what he was like as a person, and we have done this research into him, and as somebody who is a Nebraska fan, like
he has a tattoo.
I have a tattoo. I'll never tell you what it is. And
you can guess.
Yeah. And hosted Nebraska alumni watch parties in Dallas, in like uptown Dallas. You know, difficult for me to accept these things.
Yeah.
About somebody that I looked up to for almost my entire young adult life, all the way from as a child all the way up.
Well, and basically until fairly recently, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's funny that it's funny you say.
Shoot.
We're good.
Did that. Oh, we're not good. Sorry. Keep talking.
It's funny that you say, he was so well liked and stuff.
Yeah.
Because whenever somebody in the college football subreddit talks about Tom Osborne in any sort of negative light, they get downvoted to hell.
Yep, that's the thing.
Downvoted to hell. Remember, it'll fall. If
I know. Well, it's not staying right now. There.
You
It'll
go.
stay right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, it's back here. It's across my back, across my shoulders.
Leslie says, "Please don't kill Susan." Thank you, Leslie. Tombstone. We're gonna drink and watch Tombstone. Me and Leslie.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh.
You were so confused.
Oh, I was elsewhere. We have been going for like almost 90 minutes.
Yeah. That was a great deep dive. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, props.
Let me see. I love, as I was mentioning, the comment section this evening. Thank you, folks, for being here for that, and for Friday, and
there's other stuff going on.
Yeah. This was fun though.
Yeah.
And we have I really like.
I love these.
We have mugs too.
We do.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. So we there's never been.
It's like I'm taking it off.
I mean, why not? I not on here.
No.
There's never been a consensus as to who gets which one.
Yeah.
And so we have like the mugs and stuff, and we're just gonna I'm gonna have like the I know mug, and she's gonna have the I love you mug, and we're just we get photos and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But that's what we have. Box lunch, by the way.
Yeah.
There is, I think, one more week until Christmas. Yeah.
Yes.
Christmas is a week from today.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 videos that we must have out within these 7 days. Yeah. Absolutely must have out.
Yeah.
And we will. Because they have to do Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm on vacation for the next 2 weeks. I'm just saying, this is the first time in my working life I've been on vacation for 2 weeks.
I have been on 2 vacations of a week in the past 2 months. This month, and I'm on one right now. Forced.
You're working from home.
Yeah, it's because somebody at work tested positive, and I'm not going to stay there for that. So.
Nope.
Yep. Christmas is canceled. Please stay home.
Yeah, don't go out. Just stay home. Don't get people sick.
Yep.
Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Sanitize. If you have to go out. If you don't have to, please don't.
Yeah. So today is Friday. Tomorrow morning, for us anyways, noon, which is like different time for you unless you're on the West Coast. Susan's going to be on Explain Like I'm 5 with Mandisa Thomas.
Yes, I'm so excited. I need to message her.
Yes, I am excited for that as well. We got we have met Mandisa. Well, I have. I don't know if
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I met her at the American Atheist Convention last year.
Yep, met her a couple years back.
Yeah, she's great.
She's amazing. She's the she wasn't the founder. She's the founder of Black Nonbelievers over there in Atlanta.
Yep.
And be on with you tomorrow.
Yes, I'm very, very excited. If you have not caught Explain Like I'm 5, this will be a great one to watch. Last week I had Christy Santiago, who is fantastic, who I really adore. I'm trying to think of who else. I had Hema Mehta.
You had you didn't have Noah on. You had
not yet.
You had Heath.
I had Heath Enright on.
My doppelganger.
Yeah.
He's better looking, but
no.
Yeah, you've had some really great people on. You had Neil at 604 Atheist on there. Yeah, Explain Like I'm 5 is something that I'm so happy that you did get going.
Yeah.
Because it's not about religion.
Yeah.
It is to come on to the show with her. I'm not there. So I guess positive. And speak about something that you really like, your hobby, explaining it to a 5-year-old, right? I had to do that about the Electoral College.
That took almost 2 hours.
It's not my fault.
It was a lot.
And
it was a lot.
Going, but not about religion, but about other things that we like in our lives, because there are other things. And so if you would like to be on that, Susan can give you all the deets.
You can email divinedisbelief@gmail.com, or message me on Facebook, DM us on Twitter, or what have you. Because I always want to talk to all sorts of people. So yeah, this week is Mandisa Thomas. Coming up, we've got Godless Granny. I've got Callie Wright coming on.
That's
I'm very excited to talk to them.
I remember that now. So many great, so many great people.
Yeah, I had Thomas Smith on a while back.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Which, I mean, he doesn't have feet, which he didn't show. So, that he still can't prove that if he has feet.
Who knows?
So yeah.
But yeah, it's such a great show that you do. It's like an hour long or so.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll like hear me in the background or see me typing or something.
I love it.
And I'll be like in the back and be like, all right, we're at 68 minutes. And so I'm like, do I need to produce this show? Because I will. I totally can, by the way. And so I have that. We're going to be on next Wednesday again with the second installment of the Tom Osborne thing. Susan will be reading that one and going over that. And we'll have more graphics and whatnot. This will be that part that I recorded there with the deep dive is going to be by itself. I'm going to cut that, and it's going to be by itself. That'll be up on it'll be on our Twitter. It'll be in the video here. It'll have the other graphics on it properly and stuff too. So that's going to be good. And we'll be doing that. We have 2 videos to finish up the what is it? The issues with the
Lucan census.
Yeah, it's the problems with the problems with the problems in the Lucan census or something of that nature. And so we have 2 of those. We have this is Neil the 64 Atheist did some audio for us. And then we have Jen, I forget her last name. Aldrich, who has, it's kind of cute actually, the most trouble saying Quirinius.
Oh yes, it was so funny and so adorable. It was wonderful.
Oh, Christy, thank you so much. I got an opportunity. I had the opportunity, not live, but to watch your stream with Susan, and or no, I guess I caught the end of it, didn't I?
I think so.
Thank you so much for what you do. This is from me, for what you do and your positive attitude, and that your activism too. It matters so much. So that's
I think her ears were burning since we were just talking about her.
So, I think that's it.
Do you have a book recommendation this week?
Oh my gosh.
Have you been reading anything?
No, not really.
Other than Tom Osborne's book, which
I
don't recommend it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't have anything this week. I am I'm sorry.
No, it's fine because I don't really have anything either. Every once a month, actually to plug something else, once a month, I will join Between the Covers with Aaron and Manda.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say what book we're reading, but eventually I'll be able to say what book we're reading. So I'm very excited for that. Yeah, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We're at patreon.com/divinedisbelief. And yeah.
That's gonna do it for us. We will, well, hell, Susan will see you tomorrow.